Phalanx Formation. The Phalanx Formation was used for many years in ancient times, especially by the Greek and Macedonian armies. The Phalanx Formation uses long spears and shields. The reason for this tactic is to reduce the numerical superiority of the enemy army. This tactic is more of a defensive tactic that can be applied on flat terrain. Soldiers line up in 8 to 16 rows. The soldiers in the line get as close to each other as possible. The soldiers hold a large round shield in their left hand and long spears in their right hand. When the enemy army attacks, the Phalanx Formation waits with their spears extended over their shields and reduces the enemy's numbers. If a soldier in the front rank of the Phalanx is wounded, the soldier in the rear rank immediately replaces him. The Phalanx are invincible in the front line but completely defenseless in the rear and flanks. This battle tactic was often used by the Spartans and Alexander the Great. Sniper Trap. The purpose of the sniper trap is to locate enemy snipers. This tactic is used in urban battles and open terrain. Sniper trap is done by using a false target that will attract the attention of the enemy sniper. For example, it can be a helmet, model mannequin, boat, drone. These objects are placed in the enemy sniper's field of view, and he is expected to fire. The location of the trapped sniper is determined by acoustic direction finding device or by eye. The enemy sniper's position is destroyed by long-range artillery tanks or Air Force planes using pinpoint strikes. The enemy sniper is neutralized. Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg aims to neutralize enemy lines with rapid attacks and defeat them unexpectedly. This tactic requires excellent coordination and communication between naval, air, and land forces. This tactic begins with the Air Force destroying the enemy's air defenses, lines of communication, and fuel depots. Unable to communicate with each other, the enemy lines are unable to defend themselves, and the ground troops immediately move in and surround the area, forcing the enemy to surrender. Surprised by the sudden attack, the enemy drops their weapons. This tactic saves time and costly battles. Ambush. An ambush is a shock attack by camouflaged hidden units. These units wait for the right time and conditions to attack and wait for the enemy to be weakest so that they can win with minimal damage. Trench Assault. Trench assault is chosen at night when there is no moonlight. It aims to penetrate enemy trenches silently and secretly, kill sentries, and assassinate the main body. Although this tactic was used in the Second World War, it is still used today in the Middle East. Salvo. Salvo means that ground troops open fire simultaneously using artillery, rockets, missiles, and rifles. This tactic puts the enemy army in an unexpected situation and causes a psychological collapse. If you don't have enough ammunition, this can leave you stunned. Flying Wedge. The Flying Wedge is a tactic used by a group of fighters to gain visual superiority and break through enemy defenses. This tactic is formed by positioning in a V formation. The most experienced and strongest soldiers are positioned at the pointed end. On the sides are the support troops. This battle strategy was used by Alexander the Great and the Roman legions. Pincer Movement. The Pincer Movement aims to attack defending enemy forces on 2 or more fronts, so that the enemy fights on more fronts than just the one they are prepared for. This allows you to fight with a small group rather than a large army. In this tactic, strong soldiers fight at the front while other troops attack from the flanks and rear. It is a tactic still used today. Decoy. The decoy aims to draw the enemy's attention in a different direction, so that the main attack is made where the enemy does not expect it. A harassing shot is fired where the enemy can see or hear it. The enemy thinks this is a real attack and responds by moving all his troops in that direction. For a long period of time, the enemy forces focus all their attention on the area from which the harassing shots are coming. This is the enemy's moment of weakness. Distracted, out of ammunition, and tired, the enemy is now weaker. A strong attack from the rear of the trapped enemy will defeat them. Fabian Strategy. The Fabian strategy was invented by the Roman general Fabius Maximus Verrucosus. General Fabius aimed to win the war without engaging in open warfare against an enemy stronger than his own army, leaving the enemy with food and psychological problems. This strategy usually involves sudden, small raids that weaken the enemy when he least expects it, by intercepting the enemy's supply and reinforcement lines on the road before they reach the enemy. The enemy is left without support. Over time, the enemy is demoralized and weakened by lack of food. The battle is easily won with few casualties. Encirclement. Encirclement is the encircling of a city in war. Enemy forces are encircled like a lasso. No one can enter or leave the besieged city. Electricity and communication lines to the city are cut. Water channels are blocked. With no food or drink entering the city, the people and soldiers grow weaker and weaker. People blame the government and civil unrest begins. After a while, the enemy is easily defeated. Asymmetric Warfare. Asymmetric warfare aims for an army or group to fight a stronger army. It is a tactic in which the enemy fights using unconventional methods, focusing on their weaknesses. There is no concept of an organized army. The aim is to weaken and demoralize the enemy with fast and effective attacks. There are 5 types of this war tactic: guerrilla warfare, terrorism, cyber warfare, information warfare, and economic warfare. Guerrilla warfare aims to attack the enemy suddenly in small and irregular groups to weaken the enemy. Terrorism attacks civilian targets, undermining trust in the state and creating public unrest and fear. Cyber warfare targets the enemy's cyber infrastructure, cutting communications and logistics links. Information warfare blends in with the population, pretending to be one of them and creating unrest through disinformation and propaganda. Economic warfare targets the enemy's economic resources, reducing its fighting power. Trojan Horse. The Trojan Horse is a tactic of war aimed at deceiving and catching the enemy by surprise. A gift is left on the enemy's border that will not arouse suspicion and that he cannot refuse. The enemy takes the gift inside and places it in the center of the city. At midnight, when everyone is asleep, the secret lid of the gift is opened. A few soldiers come out of the gift. Silently, they open the secure gates of the border. Outside, there are thousands of soldiers waiting for the gates to open. As soon as the gates open, the attack begins. Caught off guard, the hosts are easily neutralized and the battle is quickly won. Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is an old tactic of warfare. The army using this tactic enters the territory of the stronger enemy and fights them in a pitched battle, when suddenly they decide to withdraw from the battle. The enemy thinks he has won the battle and celebrates his victory. The retreating army burns farmland, bridges, communication lines, roads, supply depots, and kills animals. After a while, the enemy is weakened and easily defeated. An example of this tactic is Napoleon's campaign in Russia. Russia, which did not engage in open warfare against France, which was stronger than it, retreated, destroyed all the grain and livestock, and set fire to Moscow with its own hands. Because of hunger, cold, and disease, Napoleon Bonaparte's huge army of 600,000 men was almost wiped out. Feigned Retreat. Feigned Retreat is a battle strategy in which the army fighting in the open aims to lure the enemy into a trap by retreating. The army fighting in the open suddenly retreats, and the enemy army, thinking it has won the battle, attacks in a disorganized manner. The army using the feigned retreat tactic signals to the archers previously placed at the top of the hill when the time is right. Suddenly, the enemy is showered with arrows and easily defeated. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of similar content. You can contribute by sharing your views in the comments. Happy day!